Okay, great. So I'm recording and I'll let Dr. Dimerson start us off.
Okay, excellent. And are the attendees able to also view the slide deck at this point?
They should be able to. And so what I will also do is like we have our attendees that are here. I see them and they should all be able to see. If you all see the screen or the presentation, they should be able to see it as well. And you all can also make available the slideshow. It's in viewer form. They should be able to view it without making any edits to the slideshow if they wish.
Okay,
Yeah.
excellent. Well, then, great to see everyone, and welcome to the UC Santa Barbara School Psychology Information Webinar. I have the great privilege and distinction of being here with my fabulous colleagues, Dr. Thompson, Dr. Ortiz, and Dr. Goodwin, and I will be presenting information today. As you can see on the first slide of this webinar deck, we also have Dr. Dowdy, Dr. Sharkey, and Dr. Quirk, who are also with us here as school psychology faculty at UCSB. So we'll go ahead and go to the next slide and give you an agenda. Today, we're going to be focused on sharing a little bit of information about what is school psychology, also feature what degree programs we offer here at UCSB. We'll highlight some information regarding what makes our UCSB program unique, and then also highlight a few details about what the programs include. And then we will have time at the end if you have questions, so go ahead and you can enter information into the chat or write it down. And then at the end, we'll have an opportunity to answer questions. So with that, I think we'll go ahead and turn it over to our colleague, Dr. Thompson.
Yes, thank you, Dr. Jamerson, for the wonderful introduction. So, first and foremost, what is school psychology? Well, as you can see, it is certainly a career that makes a difference. There is a national shortage of school psychologists, so you can rest assured that you will always find a job. But really, it's a really broad, comprehensive, and versatile career. As a school psychologist, you're able to apply your expertise in the form of providing mental health services, supporting students in achieving their learning, behavioral, and developmental goals, and ultimately helping youth succeed academically, socially, behaviorally, and emotionally.
To build off what Dr. Thompson mentioned, so I see school psychologists as wearing three major hats in the field, and one is to be a consultant. So school psychologists are consulting with teachers or consulting with administration, different educators, and also parents and families and community organizations. So we really could serve as a liaison to a lot of the different services and community partners that often many students are having to access in order to kind of get their needs met, right? So that's one consultant. The other is mental health professional and counselor or therapist. So we are providing direct mental health supports to students and their families, such as providing one-on-one individual therapy. We're also running groups on a variety of topics, whether that's skill-based groups or processing groups, social emotional learning, for example, and the such. And then the third thing that we do is that we are primarily responsible for helping to implement Child Find, where we are identifying those students who might need special education services to fully access and benefit from the public education system, and be their best selves, right? And so we are the ones who carry out those evaluations to make eligible to help facilitate that eligibility determination to see if they do qualify for those services. So yeah, that's the school
Yeah.
psychologist.
Yes, and so we here at UC Santa Barbara, we have two degree programs. One is our specialist level master's program. This results in the Master of Education in School Psychology degree, plus the Pupil Personnel Services credential, or the PPS. This is a 3-year full-time program. It consists of 2 years of coursework. The first year is entirely coursework. The second year is coursework plus fieldwork experiences where the student within the program is actually in a public school working under the direct supervision of a credentialed school psychologist, providing psychological services to students. And the last year is an internship year. This is a full-time immersive experience where the student works in a school district. They are typically paid during this internship year and working full-time as a school psychologist under the direct supervision of a credentialed school psychologist. So it's a 3-year specialist level training program. At the end of those 3 years, you get your pupil personnel services credential and you are able to practice as a school psychologist within the state of California. Additionally, students who complete this program may eventually qualify for credential through the Board of Behavioral Sciences, which is the licensed educational psychologist. So in California, this allows specialist level specialist level school psychologists to also engage in private practice or practice in contexts outside of schools. Our doctoral program is a Ph.D. scientist practitioner program, and this is a 5-year program. We do have some students who come in who may have prior master's or specialist level training in school psychology. And so for those students who come in, they may have a bit more of a truncated time in our program, but for most folks, it's 5 years. This is 3 to 4 years of coursework on campus. During that time, you will likely engage in practicum, where you are once again providing services within the public schools as a trainee. And then in your final year, you go on a full-time internship that is also paid. Just like our master's program, individuals within the PhD program qualify for the pupil personnel services and school psychology credential. They can also get the NCSP, the Nationally Certified School Psychologist credential. And our individuals who complete our doctoral program are also eligible to get licensure as a health service psychologist. So in California, that would be being a licensed psychologist through the Board of Psychology. And this is also the case for other states. Both of our cohorts across both programs are small. So for our master's program, we really don't accept more than 8 students. For the past few years, it's actually been 7 students. And this is very atypical for master's programs. In many other places, there might be large cohorts, right? We really try to make sure that we have quite high quality instruction and supervision and mentorship. So for us to really do that well, we have a faculty of about 7 who are immersed within our school psych training program. And so we have about 7 or 8 students within the master's program. And for our doctoral program, this can sometimes change, but by and large, we admit no more than 4 students in our doctoral program. And once again, it's to ensure that you have high quality mentorship. And especially for our PhD program, we want to get graduates of that program to become researchers, scholars, and future faculty, future professors. So that mentorship piece is essential, and it's one of the things that we're really proud of.
Wonderful. Thank you, Dr. Goodwin.
Oh, and so both of our programs are accredited by the California Commission on Teacher Credentialing. And so CCTC authorizes qualified professionals to provide services within the schools. So whether you're in our specialist level MED program or our PhD program, you qualify for the PPS credential. Our doctoral program is also APA accredited and NASP approved. And for APA accreditation really helps facilitate eligibility for licensure as a psychologist. Our MED program is fairly new. The good news is that we are recognized by NASP as having candidacy status, And we have currently submitted for our full accreditation for the MED program by the National Association of School Psychologists. This year is an action year for that. So we, across both of our programs, we will have you qualified to practice as school psychologists.
Wonderful. Thank you, Dr. Goodwin. So what makes our programs unique? Well, as Dr. Goodwin was saying earlier, the fact that we have, small cohort sizes is really an asset that really will help you just to kind of get a hands-on learning experience. But another thing too is that you really get the skills that will prepare you to work with individuals from ethnically, culturally, and racially diverse backgrounds. Also, we really work towards preparing you all to understand theory, research, and the various frameworks that underpin many of the assessments that you'll be learning, and all of the different ways in which you'll be interacting with students and families. We really, again, just emphasize the integration of theory, research methodology, the professional role development, gaining practical skills, and just emphasizing strong research and data analysis skills. So even if you're in like the master's program, which is really short, only 2 to 3 years, you will definitely get exposure to some of those research-based skills.
Yeah, and so our the program model for us is scientist practitioner. So that means that for those of you interested in the PhD program, right, you are going to be all in on the research lens. You're going to be advancing our practice of school psychology, trying to figure out how we can do better in our schools for our children, and really, you know, um, informing the practice that you're doing while being out in the schools to inform your research. Um, and then for those of you who are practitioner focused in the master's programs, we train you to be consumers of research and to translate that research into your practice, and so that you are engaging in evidence-based practices that are informed by research, and that you take this with you beyond your time here at USB to be lifelong learners that are constantly looking at the research and seeing, because we're a dynamic field that is constantly evolving, to stay up to date on best practices as well.
Thank you, Dr. Ortiz. Okay, so again, more about what makes our programs unique. Again, small class sizes, as I was saying earlier, and the cohort model allows you to really get to know each other and develop, long-lasting personal and professional friendships and relationships. And you'll be known by all of your instructors. We are really have like a really, hands-on approach with all of our students. So you'll really get to know all of us.
And we have an integrated course sequence, fieldwork, and research training program, right? For our PhD students, our practice also informs our research, and it's bidirectional, right? Our research also informs our practice informs our research. For our students within our MED program, we really do, as Dr. Ortiz had said, really want you to be effective consumers of the research. And there are also some opportunities for our students within the master's program to engage in research as well. They have access to the different labs that our research faculty lead, right? But what's really important is that integration. We want to make sure that our students who are going to be eventual practicing professionals are engaged in best practices that are empirically based and that are derived from sound evidence.
Yes.
Yeah, and so our program is definitely comprehensive and integrated. We, like Dr. Goodwin was mentioning, we have small cohorts, and that really, and 7 core faculty. So that really allows for students to receive a lot of attention if they want it from their faculty. You're each assigned like a mentor or advisor throughout the program, which you'll meet with regularly to make sure that you're meeting your milestones, but also checking in with you as a human being, right? We want you to be successful and we appreciate the complexities of life. And also that, again, the course sequence that we've designed is developmental in nature. We've designed it in a manner that one course builds off of the next. For example, in the assessment sequence, you first learn cognitive assessment, and then you have an achievement that a test that kind of combines achievement with cognitive processing to be able to identify learning disabilities as an example. And then we build off of that and do some social emotional. So then how do we look at the big picture and everything combined as an example of that sequence? And we also make sure that you are out in the field and in schools and have quality supervisors to be able to apply the content that you're learning in the classroom with actual lived experience so that you can problem solve and you have faculty to problem solve with and your peers and your cohort members because that's where a lot of the learning happens in our field. And then, of course, those connections and collaborations with cohorts. So I get the privilege of teaching the first year sequence for the master's students, and I absolutely love that course. What I really love about it is the intentionality that I put into building cohesion within the cohort. Every week, we do take time to do some team building and get to know each other, and that continues throughout the year. And I really think that does really help facilitate that cohesion among the cohort members. And time and time again, students always say that there's the strength comes from that cohort for many of them. So that's really awesome. Um, and then also just trying to we as faculty want you to succeed, and we are here for you. And so you know trying to figure out what it is that you need to be successful is something that, we're definitely open to. But yeah.
Wonderful. Okay, we have amazing students. A lot of the students who graduate from the program, we keep in touch with. Like we look at you as our future colleagues, and end up becoming indeed our colleagues and our friends. And our students represent, diverse backgrounds. They value the importance of education, as do you all, which is why you're here right now. Our program is student driven, student focused. We really like the overall mission is to advocate for underserved students, students who are marginalized, students who don't have a voice. That is the overarching mission. And as a graduate student in this program, you'll be learning to do the same. And the ultimate goal is for you all to be a leader in the field.
We have a thriving academic community. School psychology is thriving here at UC Santa Barbara. And Dr. Atif had alluded to it, like we care about you as a person. Dr. Jimerson says we try to progress monitor fun. And that's so important because we want to make sure that you are in the field for the long haul. Right. And so self-care, having fun, being able to feel part of a community and actually go into the communities that you serve and help them thrive is so important. So we really try to model that within our department and in our program. And yes, self-care is absolutely essential, restorative and indulgent.
Indeed.
Yeah, and so one of the really unique aspects of our program is that we are the only current program in the state of California to offer a certificate for bilingual school psychology. So currently we are focused on the Spanish language, but if you know another state language, we will work with you to see if we have the capacity to go beyond that. But our bilingual school psychology certificate program is grounded in the various competencies that were developed by the California Consortium of Bilingual School Psychology, which is a group of trainers throughout the state invested in this work. And so here are the competencies that were designed that relate to the NAS domains of practice. So things like foundations for school psychology service delivery for MLs, to school-wide practices, to more specific practices. In that, I'm not going to go through them, but if you do have specific questions about these competencies, I'd love to connect and talk with you more about them. What I want you to know is that the program design for the certificate, the curriculum was designed intentionally to have you develop these competencies by the time you leave this program so that you can feel efficacious in the work that you do with the multilingual learners and utilize the huge asset that you have of being able to speak a language other than English. So yeah. And so I am the coordinator of the bilingual school psychology program here, and I do get a lot of help from my colleagues, in particular Dr. Thompson as well, who helps me run a lot of the experiences like the bilingual roundtables listed there, which is where we meet quarterly across cohorts and really give you an opportunity to develop discipline-specific vocabulary. And these are designed to be really practitioner focused, so really specific skills like how do you talk about confidentiality in Spanish with the parent, right? And all these things, different little tasks that you would do in your day-to-day work that you might not know how to address with your current language skills, right? And then I do also want to just go back a little bit and mention Dr. Jimerson as really important for the creation of this program and a huge advocate. So I want to thank him and recognize him for this as well, in addition to all the other faculty, of course. But so what you can expect if you are accepted into the school psychology program here at UCSB, you have the option, both doctoral students and master students, to then apply to get a certificate in bilingual school psychology. To get the certificate, you have to do a few extra things throughout your course of study. Primarily, that is take one additional course in Spanish, and that is teaching strategies for bilingual education. That course is unique in that it is taught entirely in Spanish. Your reading, your written assignments, all the things, your conversations in the class are in Spanish. The next is your practicum and internship. All students will do this. However, those in the BSP program will be assigned to sites with a bilingual supervisor whenever possible. If not, you have to just do some other things to make sure that you're getting bilingual supervision. And then when we do try the best we can to place those students in like dual immersion school settings at least once during their time here. I mentioned the bilingual roundtables, which are really cool and fun, right, Miriam?
They are. I enjoy them.
And then the language and cultural knowledge. This is just, you have to demonstrate the language proficiency in one form or another. Again, we can talk about the details later, but you do have to demonstrate your proficiency in language as well as cultural responsiveness. And then part of the way that you do that is through a submission of a bilingual portfolio. Throughout your course of study, you will have specific assignments where you have to where you're demonstrating some of these competencies that I talked about in the previous slide, and it's just a portfolio of you demonstrating those competencies.
Yes,
So,
and if I could just say that we have our first graduate of the BSP program who received his certificate. So that's a huge accomplishment on Dr. Ortiz's behalf, as well as Dr. Jimerson's behalf, because it's no easy feat having established this program. Also, Dr. Ortiz and I will be delivering a presentation in Spanish at the upcoming NAS convention in Chicago, and it's called Fortaleciendo su Español Profesional. So we'll be talking about how to develop, again, some of that discipline-specific knowledge, that specific vocabulary needed to excel and engage in speaking Spanish with families and students. So it's a lot of exciting developments, more to come. Thank you, Dr. Ortiz.
yep.
And so, as a program that seeks to align with the NAS practice model, there are 10 domains. These actually also match very well with the California Commission on Teacher Credentialing, their 10 standards. Just to go through them very briefly, database decision making, consultation, collaboration, academic interventions and instructional supports. These are all activities that we engage in, both in terms of direct service, but also indirect services, mental and behavioral health services and interventions. Earlier, Dr. Ortiz had described those three main categories that we as school psychologists engage in. One of them is as the counselor, as the one providing individual or group counseling or therapy. School-wide practices to promote learning, right? It's important in terms of contemporary school psychology practice to think about systems and prevention-oriented services, as well as responsive services. We really try to promote safe and supportive schools. So that means you're going to have opportunities to understand what to do when there's either an individual crisis or school-wide crisis. Very much committed to equitable practices for diverse student populations, especially in our California context, right? We have some of the most diverse schools in the country, and we want to make sure that you're well prepared to support those students here in California and beyond. Research and evidence-based practice, as I had mentioned earlier, when we talk about science to practice, we really do mean we want you to engage in practices that are empirically supported. And legal, ethical, and professional considerations permeate all aspects of the field, right? And so this just gives you an idea of the breadth of what's covered within both our MED program and our PhD program.
All right, excellent information about the program and what makes it unique and what's highlighted and featured. I also wanted to just take a moment to say that here at UCSB, our school psych program does have an established tradition of excellence. We've been preparing leaders in the field for about 30 years. And as Dr. Goodwin had shared previously, there was a few years there where we did not have we were not admitting master's students, but now that we have been again. But over those years, if you're in our doctoral program, our focus is on preparing future faculty and leaders who will prepare the next generation of school psychologists, as well as engage in the research and the science that's going to inform the practice of our colleagues throughout the state and across the nation. And in terms of the master students, we're also preparing leaders there who will go on to be directors of school psych services, who will take the leadership and initiative and engage in advocacy within their districts as well. And Dr. Thompson, on the next slide, we have over 35 of our alumni who are faculty across the country. And I don't know that we've updated this every moment, but those first two slides that you've just seen have many of our alumni, not all of them, but you can see that they're taking faculty positions across the country as well as around the world as it is, many in California as well. And we're very proud of our alumni. They are incredible contributors to the field of school psychology, and they are leaders in the field. They're also, again, as we mentioned previously, they're preparing the next generation of school psychologists throughout the country also. The next couple of slides, if Dr. Thompson goes to those, you can see a list of some of the names of colleagues and places where they're at. Again, you'll see many of these school psychologists, persons who are practicing school psychology as professionals. You'll see a lot of California schools showing up there. I think that's often because folks from throughout the country or throughout the state who come to join us here at UC Santa Barbara, which for those who aren't familiar with the campus, it's featured in the image behind me. Once you've come here to California and spent a few years at the beach, a lot of folks decide they really like it and want to stick around, and lots of opportunities in California as well for school psychologists. So that listing of masters and some of our, mostly masters, but some of our doctoral students that go on to be professionals, to be school psychologists working full time, it's quite a large number of incredibly accomplished colleagues, and we're very fortunate to have even many of them working within Santa Barbara County as well as the Central Coast, as I said, throughout California and across the nation. So in coming to UC Santa Barbara, we would welcome you and invite you to be a part of this group. Oh no, we'll go on to the next one, Dr. Thompson. Perfect timing. In terms of funding your graduate work, as Dr. Goodwin had shared, for the master's program, there are 2 years of coursework followed by 1 year of internship, of which you'll also fulfill the internship course. And for doctoral students, 5 years with 4 years of coursework and 1 year of internship. We do also encourage individuals who have already completed a master's degree in school psychology to consider our program here at UC Santa Barbara. We have mechanisms in place, well-established mechanisms to essentially develop an individualized education plan for individuals who have already previously completed a master's degree, especially in school psychology, but sometimes in other areas where we're able to give you credit for those courses and have you focus on the doctoral courses that you had not yet completed. And by the way, it still does require a 1 year internship to fulfill the doctoral level preparation requirements if you come in with a master's already. But in terms of typical types of sources of support and funding that our students have accessed, there are teaching assistant opportunities that most all of our doctoral students engage in on an annual basis, not necessarily every quarter, but often they have opportunities to be teaching assistants each year. And that's important because we're preparing them to be high quality faculty and professors. So teaching is something we take very seriously and provide opportunities to engage in. We've also had some of our master's students engage in being teaching assistants as well. And there's a number of undergraduate courses where it's most common that the master's students might be serving as teaching assistants, and our doctoral students might do undergraduate. They might also do graduate level courses as well. There's also an assortment of student assistant opportunities. Again, the primary emphasis of the funding is for the doctoral students, but we have had assortment of master students who have also engaged in student assistant activities. Sometimes they're titled as graduate research assistant, for instance, or a graduate student researcher. Sometimes it's a general student assistant, but many of our doctoral students, most of our doctoral students and many of our master students engage in that type of activity. There's also been a Golden State Teacher Grant program that has included school psych master students over the past 4 or 5 years, and many of our students have taken advantage of this opportunity. Our understanding is that they're going to phase out that program during the upcoming year or two. So you'd want to check into that no matter which school psych program you were considering. But many of our students have taken advantage of those funds that are available. And then we also wanted to mention that our faculty are actively engaged on an ongoing basis to secure large-scale extramural funding. And so that has provided a tremendous amount of support for our current and previous students in terms of both in the doctoral and in the master's programs. The program funding is such that we're always looking for more opportunities. We're putting applications in. Just as recently as last Monday, our school psych faculty team rallied and got another proposal in. We've had a couple of others that have been funded during the current year, 2025. And we've had others that are multi-year funding projects that have been supported a lot of students in the past, 4, 5, 6, 10 years. So as you have your interest in potentially coming and pursuing your doctoral or your master's studies in school psychology here at UCSB, it's great to take a look. The graduate division of UCSB details the associated costs in terms of tuition and fees and insurance, as well as lodging, and they provide budget plans to outline what the typical costs would be here to pursue a graduate program per year at UC Santa Barbara. And then the only other thing to mention on this is typically during your internship year, most of our students have success finding paid internship positions for that year. a student could take a non-paid position if they chose in a district where they were looking to leverage a future position. But our preference and our priority is to try to facilitate um, internship opportunities that students would receive payment. And also during the internship year for both doctoral and master's students, there is a reduction in the tuition and fees so that you're not paying full tuition and fees during that final year of your doctoral or your master's studies. So those are some of the things that come to mind in terms of thinking about preparing, planning, and considering funding opportunities. Also welcome if Dr. Thompson, Dr. Ortiz, or Dr. Goodwin have anything else they wanted to add to that. Okay.
Um, Fortunately, Dr. Jimerson put in links to our different handbooks. So we are very proud that we have two outstanding programs. So if you're interested in our MED program, please check out our handbook. There's also a separate document called the appendices that gives you a lot of different information regarding everything from how you'll be evaluated to the course sequence to various different signature assignments that you can anticipate during your time in our program. And the same for our PhD program. With our PhD program, you're with us a little longer, but both of those documents are very detailed. And of course, if you have any questions, in general, we are as responsive as possible. I do want to say, because if you're interested in applying to the program, um, we're really committed to being equity minded. So if you send an email with a specific request or if you're really trying to, for example, ask, how can I improve my application? We might decline that type of a meeting only because we want to make sure that we're equitable to all prospective candidates to our program. But with that said, we're generally very responsive, and hopefully all the information that you need can be found in those documents.
Yes, and when you are ready to apply for our program, you can go to the Grad Division e-app and submit, but no later than November 15th for those of you who want to apply for the doctoral degree, PhD. And for those of you interested in the MED program, that deadline is December 15th. Definitely, you all done undergrad before, but for grad school, you need like letters of recommendation and whatnot. So just make sure that you're giving yourself sufficient time to actually do the application, to give your those individuals who are going to be writing the letters of recommendation for you sufficient time to do that. So just be mindful the deadline is quickly approaching. So if you haven't reached out to those individuals yet, you probably want to do that today. Dr. Goodwin, did you want to jump in there?
I'll just add, some folks might apply for the PhD program, but also be interested in being considered for the MED program. So there is a way that you can indicate that when you apply. So just make sure that you do so.
Yes. Great. Thank you. And then let's see. Oh, just really quickly. So once we have had an opportunity to review all those applications, we'll invite individuals to interview via Zoom sometime in December for the PhD applicants and in January for the MED applicants. For the master's program, there's usually only one round of interviews. Sometimes for the doctoral levels, there could be more than one initial screening interview and then a finalist interview after that. So yeah, now I'm done.
Yes. And now we can take questions, answer your questions.
As folks are thinking, I believe that they can type into the chat. I believe that's true. Or I guess in the Q&A, there's
Yeah, there's somebody in the Q&A. As
yeah.
someone who is going to revive their bachelor's from UCSB, how frown or receive, sorry, I think that might have been receive. As someone who is going to receive their bachelor's from UCSB, how frowned upon is it to receive a master's and possibly a PhD from UCSB?
Yeah, I would say that in our experience, there are a fair number of students that are successful in navigating from undergraduate at UCSB into the graduate programs. And in terms of the way that it's framed, it's very competitive. So I don't know to what degree frowned upon versus that it's just really challenging to get into any of the doctoral or master's programs in school psychology. So of course we want to be fully upfront about that. Large numbers of applicants. Dr. Goodwin shared small numbers of students admitted in each cohort. So it is the case that each year we have had, maybe one or two students who had been undergraduates here at UCSB successfully navigate that. So certainly if you have an interest, I'd encourage you to put together your materials and submit them and we give them full consideration and full review. So we're not biased, against, we're not treated differently. Yeah, that was a great question. Let's see if anybody else is wanting to ask a question, or if there's any other information that Dr. Thompson, Dr. Ortiz, or Dr. Goodwin think of while we're waiting for any other questions. Hopefully that as you're thinking about potential questions, hopefully the information that we've shared and prepared is informing you as to the breadth of opportunities and the breadth of preparation and all the different elements here at UC Santa Barbara. One thing I'll note that I was reflecting on during our presentation that sometimes we mention in brief, but I'll just share a bit more information about it, is that for the doctoral program, it's really important to look at the goodness of fit in the work that you would anticipate doing with specific faculty. And so I did also include the link in the webinar chat. And those of you that are not able to see the link, you can go to the UCSB GGSE faculty. If you type that into your Google browser, I think it'll show up. And then you can sort those faculty by substance areas. And if you choose the school psychology credential, whether you're interested in the doctoral or the master's program, it will provide you with each of the seven faculty who are in the school psych program. And I just want to note that for the master's program, it's not necessarily that you need to work with a specific faculty member. We do have multiple faculty who will be co-advising you and supporting you through the journey. But for the doctoral students in particular, very important to check out those faculty bios and such. And I do
Well,
see
it looks like we have
next a
some
few
more
coming.
questions.
Yeah, let's dive into them.
Okay, so one question is, could you please share any helpful information about graduate school housing and UCSB? Well, I would recommend to visit the website first. Like that'll be like your first, course of action is to check out the website. And it looks like Dr. Ortiz would like to answer that question. That's what it said there. So you can, but you can look at the website and there's different housing options that are available for incoming graduate students.
Yeah. And Dr. Ortiz, I don't know if you had more to add, but it is guaranteed. Graduate students have guaranteed housing for a year here at UC Santa Barbara, so that's very good, given the impacted nature of housing in the area in general. Some students actually end up getting additional housing beyond the first year, so that's good. And there is family housing for those of you that might be considering relocating with your family to Santa Barbara. We have a number of our graduate students who are in family student housing as well. And I'll put a link in the chat to direct traffic over that way. Yeah.
Yes. Can somebody remind me, can't you apply to that housing even before you accept your
Yes, that is
admissions? Because
true. When we begin interviewing folks, and we usually are encouraging them to even consider applying to that housing, even if they don't know yet if they're going to be admitted, just that there is a priority sort of first come, first serve type of process. So as Dr. Ortiz said, that's one of our pro tips for individuals, especially those whom we're interviewing. We encourage them to go ahead and get on that list. And if they are admitted, then they would likely be at the front of that process.
I want to address the next two questions because I do think that they're somewhat related. I'm just going to restate them and then give an answer and let my colleagues chime in. First question is does someone need to have work or clinical or research experience before applying? Um, and the other is, I'm interested in applying for a master's in school psychology. How can I make my application more competitive? What extracurricular activities can I do? And
Mhm.
so I'll start off with the master's program. It really, really will benefit you if you have experience working with children. And if you have experience working with children within schools, it can be professional experience, it can be volunteer experience, um, it can be in the context of school-based research, even. But that will really give you, for those of us who are faculty who will be reviewing applications, it'll make you stand out because if you know how schools work or have some experience working with children within schools, it just works favorably for you. Um, and I think that's also a advantage when applying to our PhD program. It also does help. We do value, and we have some students who come into our PhD program who have prior work experience, some who have prior work experience as credentialed school psychologists, right? But above and beyond that, as Dr. Jimerson had said, there needs to be some sort of fit, some alignment with regard to your research interests and that of our mentoring faculty. And also, we're very clear about the goals of our PhD program. We really, really want to um, have graduates who become academicians, graduates who become professors to advance the field of school psychology. As Dr. Thompson had mentioned earlier, not only is there a shortage of school psychologists actually practicing within the field, but we have a shortage of actual school psychology faculty who can train that next generation, right? And so there's an abundance of opportunity in terms of employment, in terms of having thriving careers. But that rightness of fit and alignment with the overall aims of our programs are big. Do my colleagues want to add on to that?
I think that was well said, Dr. Goodwin. And as he noted that the emphasis of the PhD program in terms of preparing future faculty, individuals who have master's degrees in school psychology and might feel that they have less research focus and more practice focus, that's okay. We understand that's the context that you've been in. But then other folks who haven't necessarily been working full time as a school psych, we would certainly anticipate that you've got some strong research foundations coming in that demonstrate your, promise and potential to excel as a doctoral student in the program. And then, of course, like Dr. Goodwin was highlighting, there's a number of sort of practice related experiences that students can receive, like that are preparing either from undergraduate or post baccalaureate that should include work in the schools in terms of what was described as that being a critical place for the preparation of school psychologists as professionals. But we also understand that there's great work that folks do within community settings. I know it's been quite popular to get paid positions to be like a registered behavioral technician, but you can also get sometimes paid to be a student assistant in a classroom, working in a school district. The list goes on and on, but the point is that all of those experiences are going to advantage you in competing for the few spaces in any of the school psychology programs, ours included.
Something I'll add, somewhat related but not directly related to the questions that might be helpful, especially for those of you interested in the master's program. I think something that also is important is for you to really be invested and know that this is the career path that you want. So that means knowing pretty concretely what a school psychologist is, what does that role entail, like go out and talk to a local school psychologist, shadow them for a day, see the ins and outs of that career, and make sure that it's something that you want to do. This is a 3 years master's program, which is really long actually for a master's program. So, and it's very intensive, right? We have a lot of competencies that we need to make sure that you are meeting by the time you graduate here. So it's very time intensive. Um, and so, therefore, you want to make sure that this is a career path where you want to spend your time and energy in. Um, and so, that's, I think, another recommendation that I have for you to, again, make sure you know the career, shadow, talk to school psychs, and make it very clear in your application materials that you know that and that you've landed on this for the right reasons.
Yes, really well said, Dr. Ortiz. And I mean, research us. Like, look at all of our faculty bios, like Dr. Jimerson included links to so that you all can look at our individual bios. Looking at the handbooks, which Dr. Goodwin directed you all to. Like, definitely do your homework on us. And as Dr. Ortiz said, like, yes, this is a very rigorous program, but we also have fun. Like, we meet together as students and faculty every quarter for pizza and just to socialize and just for a moment forget that it's students and faculty as people. That's very important to all of our well-being. And we work hard, we play hard too. So it's a balance. But yes, definitely take your time to understand what the role of a school psychologist is because it's certainly an investment, but it's for a finite period of time. You'll be working really hard, but it's going to pay off.
We really do like each other.
We do. Yes, absolutely. We do. We hang out.
Yeah. And we're very committed to our students. And I really do feel like that is what's just a real strength. So just know that if you do come to our program, you're joining a welcoming, inviting, rigorous, but very positive community.
Green. All right. Well, if there's no other questions, then I think we've fulfilled everyone's informational the information they were seeking, their informational needs, and we look forward to reviewing the applications as they're coming in here. As Dr. Ortiz said, just to highlight again, November 15th is the due date for doctoral applications, and December 15th is the due date for the master's applications. And as Dr. Goodwin said, if you're interested in both, you can specify that information on your doctoral application that you're also interested in the master's. And again, these are our timelines here at UC Santa Barbara. So those of you who are interested in exploring various school psychology programs, just to remind you, everyone has different dates. So pay attention to what those dates are, whether it's doctoral programs or master's programs, but November 15th and December 15th for here at UC Santa Barbara. So we really appreciate you taking time. Thank you. Grateful to Dr. Thompson, Dr. Ortiz, Dr. Goodwin, on behalf of all of our school psychology faculty. And we look forward to further communications and the opportunity to review your materials. Take care, everyone.
Yes, thank you, everyone.
Bye.